as you've probably heard, we have huge budget deficits, and that comes from the fact that it's a huge convoluted formula on how we get our money. But basically, if you just want to narrow it down, about 72 to 75% of the money that we get come from the property taxes that your parents pay and that the businesses pay in the community. And then the other portion comes from the state or the feds. The feds give us, they're more like grants, things for to pay for free and reduced lunch and to pay for special parts of special ed. So those are dedicated, so we really can't even touch those monies. But because the way that we wind up having a deficit is because we're considered a rich, property-rich community, which means there are property-poor communities, Milwaukee, a lot of the upper northwest part of the state that can't afford to run their districts because there's nothing to tax. So we wind up giving money away. We don't get to keep all of that money. So what then in turn, if the state doesn't give us any money, which right now that they're saying they're going to give us zero back, just due to inflation, you all have seen the inflation, grocery costs have gone up, gas prices have gone up, heating, water, everything that you touch has all gone up. We start off with a $2.4 million deficit. And we have cut significantly. We changed all the teachers' benefits, which was big for them. Currently, the teachers teach 5 periods a day at the high school, and then they have 1 period where they work either in a study hall or in a lab, like math lab or whatever. And then the other 2 are their prep times, where they can either prepare for the upcoming class or grade your papers, or if needed, work with a student that really needs help. So that's how it's set up today. Well, starting next year, they're all going to teach 6 hours. And then they have their 2 prep times. And then we will have aides in all study halls, but then like English and math, they'll have to juggle to make sure they have an English teacher or a math teacher in the math or English labs. But when we do that then, that right off the bat will wind up cutting almost 10 full-time positions at the high school. That's how powerful that change is. Now that gives us some leeway, but that only gives us up to about 650, 700,000. That doesn't get us to 2.4 million. So then we have to look at all the different other areas that we can cut. Now, an orchestra is not set up to be cut next year. It was discussed as an item that may have to be cut in years to come because we have such a big music program, but next year, orchestra's there. We do appreciate orchestra. And I happen to be the chairperson of what's called Curriculum and Learning, which is the area where we meet. There's 3 board members, and we meet with Dr. Kiltz, who is now the director of Curriculum and Learning, and we meet once or twice a month, and we talk about curriculum issues, like how do we expand the healthcare academy, do we expand, business academy. We're hoping to expand what's going to be called the STEM academy, which is engineering. But in that area then, we met this past week to talk about, okay, we still need to find a couple $100,000 to cut. And we started talking about the music department, because it is a big department. But what we've decided to do is we, the board, have put back to administration, go and meet with the music people, put a plan together. What is your goal for the whole music department? Where do you want to put your efforts? Do you want to have like an A1 orchestra and an A1 band, but then we have to have all these other ones around it, or maybe we just have 1 or 2 of each, and really put the money there. So that's been charged back to them. We will meet in May to talk about that.